Hey everybody, it's Steve with SKY194, and I appreciate you taking the time to visit and check out my video. And we're back in here for another 2024 pros and cons version 1.10.3. And of course, we're in the Aston Martin V8 GT3. I mean, of course, it's originally came out in 2018. All the cars that you see here in this little race that I did checking on the setup are 2024 cars. It was in that last update. A lot of these are new liveries and stuff like that, so you'll probably see some new liveries in there. But I just picked the 2024 cars to go with it. Again, this is a short little race, so we'll start off with the cons first. And the first one is acceleration, which seems like always follows the Aston Martin, but like here on the start, it wasn't so bad because you're rolling, and I got a good start on the AI, but with somebody else, a human, would probably be lucky to stay with them. But again, usually like when you go through a chicane or some kind of bus stop type turn, usually most of the other cars, pretty much just about all of them, will out accelerate the Aston Martin from a slow turn. It's not as bad as it used to be, but I would still say it's a con compared to some of the other cars like a Porsche, BMW. Even a McLaren's not that bad. Pretty much all these other cars that have really good, pretty good acceleration. That's partially due to the engine and it's got a pretty tall first gear, so that kind of hurts it too. It also it takes a little bit more, another con, a little bit more effort as far as turn-in. You have to put more input into the car. So again, even with adjusting the setup and things like that, which we'll talk about at the end, basically you have to just put more input into the car to get it to react. It's just that the car doesn't react very fast. So again, that's another con. Again, also it takes a little bit more practice, I would say, and patience just to get the performance out of the car. So again, just compared to maybe like the Ferrari or the McLaren, which you can get up to speed fairly quickly. I think the Aston Martin is more. It just takes a little bit more effort to really work at it, to find out, to get the corner speed and to work on the braking part and other things to really get the speed out of the car. And again, that's why I would not really recommend this as a car for a new person into sim racing. Just to me, I think it would be kind of starting really at a tough point with it. But maybe if you have a lot of experience with sim racing, maybe you'd be all right. But if you're really new to sim racing, I probably would just start with something else first. A minor con is the TC could be better. And again, the TC to me, especially, TC2's off, and I have TC1 right now. I was trying it, but actually on my fast lap, I went to TC2. So really TC2 or 3 is fine, but TC, it just wants to interrupt, and, and that hurts some on the acceleration. So again, TC interrupts your acceleration, and this car needs every bit of acceleration on the from these low speed corners and chicanes and things like that. So basically, I just think that a better TC upgrade, which I would love to see if they did something like that with the Evo, that would be really interesting. Is if that was part of that upgrade, I don't know, but I sure wish they would come out with the Evo. And ACC. Let's see. The braking, again, another minor con. The braking is just, I call it average in the Aston Martin. But the big thing is, you don't run a lot of brake bias towards the rear in this car. I think the lowest, I don't remember, it's like 57 or 58. But so it doesn't go really low anyway. I could be wrong on that. I didn't even remotely turn it way down because the back end just gets unhappy. The back end, you get into a snap oversteer with it, when you get anything down to even 59 or so. And the reason of that is a lot is in the setup. So again, just something that, you know, is just the way the car is with the way you have to set this car up, which we'll go over on the setup pointers. Again, another minor is the rain setup. Basically, rain setup, it really needs a dedicated setup to be optimized in the rain. You know, where a car that a lot of other cars is you can run a dry setup and maybe just do a few clicks here and there, and that's all you got to do. Really, with the Aston Martin, to do that, you might have to run TC1 and 2 pretty hard to get it to do that, because of the way you have to set this car up to react and really get the performance out of. So you would probably be better off doing a completely dedicated setup if it was just a pure rain event. Now, if it was a dry, you know, if it's going to be a mixture event, I would probably just go with your dry setup with minor tweaks and just go with the TC1 and 2. Be more aggressive with that to keep it until the track dries or something. But I mean, those are really the cons that I have for the car. Now we got the pros. Again, the car's got great stability. That's a good pro. Also, one of the best things it has is the transmission. This has got probably, and I know that sounds kind of silly, but if you really think about it, for braking and things like that, that's where the braking comes in, where you can improve the braking. If you can really get your downshifts and be aggressive with the downshifts, it really helps with the car on the braking with the Aston Martin. Where if you just use more brakes and you're not really aggressive with the downshifts, you might find yourself getting out-braked by other cars. But if you can get aggressive with the transmission and really be aggressive on the downshifts, then you'll be right there. But to do that, like the Mercedes or the Porsche, where a lot of times you can't, that you can with the Aston Martin. It really, really is good about that. Doesn't miss shifts, and you can be aggressive with it, and it just goes right. It just goes. So again, a very good pro right there. Again, a minor pro is the lights. I tried it with in the rain and at nighttime, and they're okay. I think there's a few better out there, probably in the middle of the pack somewhere, but I still think it's as good. Also, minor pro is the sounds, and of course, it looks to me that, you know, it looks great from every angle. Which again, I know that's subjective, but it's a great car just to look at, and I love the sound. So I just put that as a minor pro. Once you really get to know it and really get used to the driving of it, and get the setups pretty consistent, then you can be, you know, put out some consistent lap times. So again, I think that's a really good pro. Also, it's got great speed everywhere. You know, any long straightaway, you're going to be right there, competing with the, you know, top speeds. So again, you know, that I checked it at some of the faster tracks like Monza and Mount Panorama. It was right there speed wise with the Mustang and everything else, so no problem there. Good tire wear. The tire wear is really good. Little bit more on the rear, but that's fine. Not a problem with that. But it's everywhere I went, the tire wear was very, very good. And also, it's another good pro is it's good over bumps. The car just takes the bumps and just soaks them up, and doesn't get the car unstable or anything like that. So that's always a nice thing. Especially if you get to the bumpier places. Also in this, I'll just have the one folder, which will be for COTA, Donington, Monza, Mount Panorama, Nürburgring, Watkins Glen. And I will have one coming soon for Spa and what was the last one? Zolder. I'm gonna try to have those within the next week or two. They should be added. They're just not where I want them to be. So Spa and Zolder I'll have. I'll just add it to that folder in the near future. Let's see. We got some driving and setup tips. And I want to watch this last. This is the last lap that's going to come up here. This next lap is the last lap. and that was my fast lap. And I just wanted to look at a couple different angles. You see, I'm running at 140. I think this is a 47.5 or 6, something like that. See what it does when it comes up. Yeah, my fast is a 47.5. That lap was a 47.6. And this is my personal best as far as my fast lap. Now, I do get a little bit of draft off of it, but also we'll see here at the end. I also get a little bit of negative too. But I was really happy with it, and just goes to prove the car can be competitive and be more than competitive. You know, if you just get to have a good setup and have the practice with the car. Again, you get the great sound. We'll jump in the other Lamborghini. Got Caldarelli right there. And you got this. I got a little run on him right through there. So I got a little run, and you see it drafting. So it drafts really well. You see it just pulling up, and I start to go around him. And you see I got pinched down there on the inside, but I kind of just did a block pass and got in front and held on for the win. So again, it was a fun race, and that was a 147 point. Well, that's him. We'll go to me. That was a 147.26 was that lap. So again, that was a personal best by me. Really happy with that. And again, I started with a little bit less fuel, but still more than they had. I think I had 40 or 45 liters or something like that in it. So a little bit less fuel than but I tuned it with 55. So again, temperature, like all my setups, are between 22 and 24. So let's go over some of the last bit, the driving and setup tips. Like I said about the transmission, using it with the braking really gets the car to brake with everything else. It rewards smooth driving, so the smoother you can be with the car and carry the corner speed through, the more you're gonna be rewarded. Try to use second gear as much as you can, but again, you're gonna have to use first a lot with the slower corners, since it's got the tall first gear anyway. So just try it a couple different ways at whatever track you're at, and sometimes first gear will be better, and sometimes if you can get through second, use second. The diff likes lower settings. I mean, you could probably between 40 and 70 is where I try to keep it. It just seems like anything higher than that, and you lose time. So it just seems like it likes it in that range somewhere. Now, I really didn't try a lot of rain type stuff, so it might like a little higher if it was in the rain. So it's something you might want to try. But in the dry, I probably between 40 and 70 is probably where I'd keep it. Also with the TC, you have to 2 or 3 is, like I said, this is on 2 now, and 2 or 3 I think is fine. Brake bias is between 61 and 63. Actually, you can go down to 60, but as soon as you get under 60, it just seems like the rear end wants to snap over rotate on you. So I don't like the feeling of it. And the reason why that is because with the car's slow turn in, you really have to jack the rear ride height up on the Aston Martin. It just, if you don't, the car will understeer, especially on the turn in and mid corner. So basically, you got to jack it up higher than a lot of other cars. I know the Lexus usually likes a lot of ride height in the rear also. But basically it's still pretty high compared to, the BMW or AMG or any of the other front engine type cars. Even the Mustang, I know a lot of, I know some guys that do that, but, I didn't really jack it up as high most of the time. So again, Aston Martin, you got to jack up pretty high, and when you do that, it's going to make the rear end want to snap on you. So again, if you run any amount of brake bias to the rear, it's going to just make that worse. So again, without it, like I said, the car won't react and also change directions. Ride height helps changing directions. So you have to go through a chicane. If you got the ride height at a decent amount, it's going to change directions quicker. So that really helps a car that's slow in doing it. Compared to the Porsche that's a short wheelbase, or the Aston or the Audi, they're short wheelbase cars. They don't need that much ride height in the rear because they're so short. They react so fast. Aston Martin's not that way. So again, it's just something that you have to do to help the car react, but the consequences of that is the trying to run the brake bias really low, and you can cause trouble. So again, something that I just stayed away from. But I have the setups that'll be in just the one folder, and I'll leave a link in the description. And again, they're for COTA, Donington, MONZA, Mount Panorama, Nürburgring, and Watkins Glen. And they're all pretty solid, I think. I was running really good times with all those. And I hope you enjoy them. I hope they work good for you. A like and subscribe would really be great. I sure hope you give me a like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you have subscribed, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate any support. And all your feedback and comments are support too. So I thank anybody for that. And again, I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you'll catch me again on another pros and cons coming up later on. Y'all take care. See ya.